Hi everyone, welcome to World Futures Day Young Voices. This session is brought to you by Teach the Future, a global nonprofit dedicated to embedding future literacy into education worldwide. World Futures Day is a partnership with the Millennium Project. Right now, we are all part of a 24-hour global conversation about our futures, creating a space where all generations, especially young voices, can share their visions, concerns, and action driven projects towards a better tomorrow. Let's make this conversation count. Hi, everybody. I'm Hazel, and I'm going to be co facilitating this workshop with Jade today. I'm so excited for the next hour, and I hope you will enjoy it.
Kia ora, I'm Jade, and we, alongside Hazel, have the privilege and pleasure of co-facilitating. I'm really just going to be managing the slides in the background, so Hazel's going to do all the hard work up front. Should I share my screen now, Hazel? What would you like me to do? Yeah, okay.
Please.
Wonderful. As Hazel mentioned, we're going to be exploring food across the generation. It's going to be an amazing futures immersive experience. But let us start with a karakia, which is kind of a Te Ao Māori, Indigenous people of Aotearoa, an incantation to help us ground ourselves and clear the space for our time together today. Okay. Me karakia tātou. Toe ki runga, toe ki raro, toe ki roto, toe ki waho, toe ki te here tangata, ka rongo te pō, ka rongo te ao, tihei, mauri ora. This one translates to bind from above, bind from below, bind from within, bind from the outside, join, link, and bind together during the day, during the night, join, link, and bind together. So, what's happening today? We've opened with a karakia. You've had the wonderful welcome from Hazel. We're going to be spending a little bit of time introducing ourselves, but really want to be focusing most of the session around the human layers experience with a focus on food through the generations. We'll have a chance to immerse ourselves in the experience and then reflect on it and close with a karakia and open up for any questions that you might have as well before the 45 minutes is up. Hazel, did you have anything to add here to this part?
I think you got it, but thank you. Perfect.
Awesome. Over to
Cool. Hi,
you.
guys. Thanks, Jade. I'm going to start by reading my pepeha, which is a tradition here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, where we introduce ourselves by saying the places that are significant to us. So, he uri ahau no Airangi, no Kotoranga, no Ingarangi, a no Hoki. Ko Mulligan te whānau, he tangata tiriti ahau. I tipu ake ahau ki tamaki makaurau. Kei te reo ka wharu ahau e noho ana. Ka mihi iho ki ngā tangata whenua me ngā tohu whenua o te roho nei. Ko Hazel tōku ingoa. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Greetings everyone. I'm a descendant of Ireland, Scotland and England. My family name is Mulligan. I'm here by the way of a treaty. I grew up in Auckland. I now live in Grey Lynn. I acknowledge the local iwi and significant landmarks of this area. Greetings again to all. As I mentioned before, my name is Hazel, and I'm currently living in Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm actually in quite a big family. I'm the eldest of four, so my family will always be one of my values. You can see my crazy family in the picture in the middle, and I love and I'm really interested in future thinking and the future of food. I'm also part of Teach Your Future, which is a global nonprofit helping students build futures literacy. They run initiatives like the Summer Institute and the Young Voices Council, both of which I'm involved in. If you'd like to learn more or get involved, keep an eye out. I'll post the links at the end. Cool. Over to you, Jade.
Awesome. Kia ora. Thanks, Hazel. Ni hao leho, kia ora koutou, ko Jade tōku ingoa he tangata tiriti aho. My name is Jade Tang-Taylor. Wear lots of different hats, but for tonight, I'm wearing the co-founder and director of Design Futures Aotearoa. I am tangata tiriti, so a person of the treaty. So my whakapapa or my genealogy goes back to, was born in Malaysia, and my ancestors are originally from Guangzhou, China. And I arrived here in Aotearoa, New Zealand when I was 2, and really lucky to have my turanga waiwai or my sense of belonging out in Waitakere, West Auckland, where I now reside with my hubby and my little, well, not so little anymore, 8 year old going on 18-year-old. You'll also recognize the wonderful photo to the right, which is actually Victoria, who's Hazel's mum. She would have seen her in the previous slide as well. But at the moment, I'm curious about lots of things, but currently about the intersection of design thinking, systems thinking, and futures thinking. So it's really interesting. I just joined maybe about 15 or so minutes ago, hearing the wonderful young woman sharing about her futures experience and, combining with futures thinking and systems thinking, which is speaking my language, which is great. And last but not least, I am a working mum of 1. A little bit about Design Futures Aotearoa, really about creating spaces and relationships for futures thinkers across Aotearoa to connect, to collaborate, and to be visible. We do lots of different things, but the one that I'll highlight here is really building futures literacy through shared practice and not just theory. So we're going to be going through a bit of a immersive experience today together, a long time practice. And then how we do it, so how we approach it is, a range of points here, but the one that I'd highlight is creating inclusive futures experiences that center intergenerational equity and fairness. And today we're focusing on food through the generations. We have a wonderful, collective team of change makers across Aotearoa. That Victoria and myself live in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, kind of in the North Island. And then Alice, Cheryl, and Howard live in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, which is in the South Island. This is definitely all a bit of a labour of love, though. So our love for futures. And then without further ado, well, I'm going to hand you back over to Hazel to share a bit more about human layers.
Cool. So tonight we're going to be doing this meditation. It's immersive experience where you get to experience the future and the past through people you're connected to. So yeah, it was created by Ella Saltmarsh and Hannah Smith, which very thankful for them because it's such a great exercise. Cool. I'm going to start. Ensure you are in a quiet place where you have a little space to move forwards and backwards. Stand and make yourself comfortable. Take a breath. Arrive. Relax your shoulders and let go of any tension you feel in your body. Feel your breath moving in and out. Notice the support of the ground beneath you. Feel fully present in the moment. And now, let's begin. Bring to mind someone you feel warmly towards of your grandparents' age. They may or may not still be with us. It might be a grandparent, a great aunt or uncle, or another older person. Think of one of your qualities that evokes warmth in you. It could be their smile, something that made them laugh, their hands. Now, take a step backwards. And as you're stepping backwards, you're stepping back in time. Now imagine that person at 40. How is that quality that evokes warmth for you present in them then? Take a moment to connect with them in the past. Now step back one step in time again. And this time, imagine you're at this person's 9th birthday party. How is that quality that evokes warmth in you present in them back then? What do they look like? What are they eating and drinking at this 9th birthday party? When is it? It could be the 1920s or 30s. maybe a bit earlier or a bit later. Where in the world are we? Imagine yourself walking over to the window and for a moment turning your back on the party. What do you see outside the window? What's the world back then? What is growing? How are people getting around? How are they communicating with each other? Take a moment to drink in the world back then. And now, come back into the room and drink at this 9th birthday party of the person you care about. And then take your leave. Step forwards, one step through generations. Step forwards, another step. Now you're back in the present day. Take a moment, breathe, let go of that older person. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Take a deep breath in and out. Now, think of a small person who you feel warmly towards. It could be a child, grandchild, niece, nephew, or the offspring of friends. Think of one of the qualities that evokes warmth in you. It could be their smile, the things that make them laugh, their hands. Step forwards one step. You're stepping forwards in time. Imagine that person at 40. How is that quality that evokes warmth present in them then? Take a moment to connect with them in the future. Step forwards another step. Moving through time again. It's now their 90th birthday. They're sitting around a table being celebrated by their friends and family. They're laughing. How is that quality that evokes warmth present in them at 90? Does the same thing make them laugh? What foods and drinks do they love? Stay in the warmth of the party. When is this party happening? It's probably around the end of the century, say 2095, or the start of the next one, 2105. Maybe a bit earlier, maybe a bit later. Imagine yourself walking over to the window. For a moment, you turn your back on the party. What do you see outside the window? What's the world like? What's growing? How are people getting around? How are people communicating with each other? What is the world like in the future? Now, turn your attention back to the party room. There's a framed picture of you on the table. The person you care about, who's celebrating their 90th birthday, is tapping their glass and asking for everyone's attention. They raise their glass and toast. They're thanking you for something you did that helped shape their world for the better. What are they toasting you for? Stay in that moment, taking a few deep breaths to connect you to your legacy. Now, take your leave. Step back one step through the generations. And step backwards again, arriving back in the future. Take a moment with your eyes shut to land back here. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Take a deep breath in and out. And slowly open your eyes. You've just time traveled around 200 years and crossed many generations. How did that feel?
Thank you so much, Hazel. That was so wonderful to have it read out. Usually I have the podcast version, and it's just so wonderful to hear your wonderful voice kind of sharing that creative visualization with us. So, would love to hear from all of you. How did it feel? What did you see? What did you eat? Whether it was in the past or the future? What did they drink? And what was growing? If you were thinking like looking outside, both, 100 years back or 100 years in the future, what was growing? Was there anything growing? Was it tasty? Would love for you to take a bit of time just to reflect on that experience, and to put your thoughts in the chat. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that while I frantically write my thoughts too.
Yeah, so feel free to put your thoughts or ideas in the chat box. It doesn't matter what you think, just whatever you felt.
Just popped mine in there, but feel free to pop it in when you get a chance to reflect. Or if you would like, feel free to unmute yourself. Would really love to hear how you experience that. I can share a little bit about what we were eating. Reflecting back, there were noodles in the past. We came from quite humble beginnings, so the noodles in the past were quite bland. It was very bare minimum noodle dish. But in the future, there were also noodles, but rather for protein, there were crickets in amongst the noodles. I never tried that before, but that's just what sprung to mind. We were drinking green tea through the generations. Again, rather plain and quite bland in the past. But in the future, oh, that was supposed to say matcha. So my daughter's really keen on green tea, but more specifically matcha and boba tea, like these tea with jelly balls. And then there were lots of vertical, like, no, yeah, when I was looking at the future, lots of vertical farms growing things in the future. But Randy, I see that you said I felt welcomed by the experience of my 90th birthday. I love that. Did you want to unmute and share how that feeling of feeling included and welcome felt like?
Absolutely. I did. First of all, I have to say I really enjoyed this. It's especially when you came to the birthday part, because I really put myself there and said, geez, what would I be doing and enjoying for my 90th birthday? And in honesty, I struggled with it a little. Today's treats were definitely at that time, but I think I probably would be experiencing something different. So it just was a warm feeling. I really appreciated this experience.
Hmm. Thanks, Randy. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's one of my favorite creative visualizations and experiences too. Um, Victoria, I wonder if in the future we still grow food outside at all, or maybe we just grow in labs. Really interesting, kind of connected to my vertical farming. I guess vision of the future. One of my neighbors loves permaculture, but also has a vertical hydroponic kind of internal garden where she grows her veggies as well. But I don't know, what are your thoughts, Victoria? Do you think we might be growing food outside? If you want to
Yeah, and
comment.
especially with the new and up and coming lab grown meats, that might be
Mm,
quite interesting.
I don't know if you want to come
I've
and
come
share.
in.
Yay!
Ah,
And
um,
Kira.
what a lovely experience hearing this one on the screen. Yeah, I just wondered if we look out the window and there's not stuff growing, what does that mean? What does that mean about what our world looks like? What might be good about it? What might not be so good about it? Like I quite enjoy the preparation of food with people. And if everything is grown in labs, do we still get to do that? I don't know. So yeah, I just thought I'd share what it made me think of.
Thank you for sharing. But good to also know that things will still be growing. We just might not be sure whether they're growing outside or inside in labs. And then I think, Hazel, you alluded to lab-grown meats. I remember an event that Victoria actually helped host this time last year with Institute of the Future, and someone was talking about a vegetarian chorizo sausage that was grown in a lab. And I was like, oh, all these complexities of like a chorizo sausage being vegetarian and then growing in a lab. Anyway, it was
Yeah,
very
quite the
fascinating.
complex bit going together.
Yes, exactly. Lisa, okay, so you are, I love interacting with my grandmother in the past and enjoyed hanging out and party with my nephew who is 40 and was 80 of years of age. Yikes. A very impressionable experience. Love that, Lisa. And were they eating anything in particular in the future of this party? You might have not necessarily thought about it, but would love to hear if there was.
Man, no, actually, no, I didn't think about the food. It was mostly just being in the presence, and maybe conversations that were happening. I was trying to get into the mood or the feeling.
Love that. And
But
what did the mood or feeling or vibe feel like?
it was joy because of the way you led it. It was the warmness, talk about envision my nephew. He's so warm and he's only 4.5 right now. And so how do they keep that warmness, about them, even it, that warm and childlike feeling, when they're 40, and then when
Mhm.
they're 80, connecting with still having that connection, that feeling. It was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Hazel, for walking us through this exercise.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
it's always quite crazy to think of that young person being that old and being in that generation because you only know them as how they are now.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing, Lisa. We've got Umbayo, William. I'm grateful for the experience gained and the connection with fellow young change makers. I'm thrilled about the relationship and thought of projects. That's awesome, Umbayo. I'd love to hear if you were thinking about food through the generations at all, but just more, it sounds like more of a general comment of being able to collaborate with Teach the Future as well. But feel free to come off mute if you'd like to share. Oh, this is my friendly reminder to myself that we are taking time to share. In Lawal, uh, the 95% of people are dependent on cholesterol foods, which may cause long time life-threatening issues. I don't what Lawal, are you there? Would you like to share a little bit more about your really interesting comment here? No pressure though. Oh, yeah, no, I can see your camera. Oh, but you're still muted. I'll ask to unmute you and see if we can hear you. Hold on a second. No, not working today. That's okay. Thank you for sharing your comment and thoughts in the chat, though. And then we've got Timilehin Balogan. A wonderful experience. So thank you so much for sharing that. Hazel, I'm curious about you. When you first embarked on this, and hopefully you had a chance to envisage and think through food through the generations as well, what were you thinking about? What did you eat in both those parties, or what were you drinking, and what were you growing, if anything?
So when I first did it, I thought of the old person being my grandmother, and I
Mhm.
thought she would be eating quite usual meals, the typical, pasta or just a salad. But when I thought of the future, I thought of there being community gardens where everyone worked together and created meals together, which was a way of connection. And I
Mm.
thought during the birthday party that my little cousin, who would now have been 90,
Mhm.
helping out with everyone and everyone contributing during the birthday party, not just her supplying everything. And it was outside the birthday
Mm.
party on a table next to the garden, which was really nice.
Oh, I love that. I want to be in your future. That sounds amazing, Hazel. I love the collective community kind of growing of, yeah, how food could be more, um, yeah, more joyful, and, encourage collectivism in the future. I love what Scott also popped in the chat. I was thinking of lab-grown meats as well, but not being particularly in the mood to eat it as I was waiting for more viable lab-grown meat. Just not care for meat as much anymore. And also lots of insects, jellyfish. I didn't realize you could eat jellyfish. But I was happy there has been a green foods revolution in culinary arts. So surprising and a happy veggie. Red velvet cake was also there. Not sure how that magic was made today or was in the past. So still rather ignorant in the future. Thank you so much for sharing, Scott. It's a really yeah, visual and descriptive comment. Feel free to come off mute if you want to share more, but really love that. I think I remember I tried my first cricket when I was in Mexico, maybe 20 odd years ago. I'm showing my age now. And it was surprisingly tasty. Crunchy, but tasty. It was fine. Don't know if it would be my go-to all the time, but it's okay. And
Yeah,
then
what did you mean by jellyfish? I didn't
Ah,
know you could eat or do anything by that.
well, so it turns out last year. So I'm in Malaysia, and they had every year there's a celebration of Sabah Sarawak, which are eastern part of Malaysia. It's on Borneo, so disconnected from the mainland. But the people of Sarawak make this kind of jellyfish ceviche, which I gotta try. And I was like, oh well, we know that because as the climate gets worse, jellyfish are loving it, and so there's just so many of them in the ocean right now. I thought that would be our way of striking a balance. And so surprise, I mean, if you're a textury person, it takes some getting used to. It's very slimy, but can be done very tastily. And I've eaten grasshoppers in China, which if seasoned correctly, pretty good stuff. So yeah. And then my head was still in spaces as well. And so I feel like not everyone was there physically, that people were there via, I don't know, virtual reality and screen, kind of a weird amalgam of various technologies. So that was kind of nice as well.
I love it. So a jellyfish ceviche eating experience via VR. This is next level. Thank you so much for sharing, Scott. Um,
Yeah, when I did this activity, I didn't really think of people being there like through other methods than actually physically being there, even though we are actually on a Zoom call right now. But yeah, that's really interesting.
so wait, you didn't think that people were together in the future, Hazel, or
I thought that they would be like physically together and not
Mm.
like
Yeah.
virtually. I didn't really think about that bit.
Hmm, what's that? Lowell, I see that you've come off mute now. Did you want to share something?
No, ma. I will already explained myself, ma.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello. Would you like to share your reflections in a bit more detail? You had a very interesting comment. Oh no, okay, no. Go on mute. Oh, I've never tried crickets, but here in Nigeria we catch and eat
Y-
termite during the nuptial flight. Interesting.
y-
Did you want to share something,
Hello.
Lowell?
Yes, ma. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Lawley Saku. My name is Lawley Saku. I'm from Nigeria. So they will raise this comment. The child now depend on eating cholesterol food like noodles, spaghetti, and other food that are already processed in companies. So these food sometimes have life threatening. They have life threatening, which may cause problem in their health. Because people could consider the food processing companies, they are using all these alterations and other chemicals that are serious to human health. So in the future, this program would have to give child or youth the awareness about the about their health so that they can prevent eating this kind of food. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I coincidentally was listening to a podcast this morning around food and currently how food is, you're completely right, being processed and over processed. And it feels like there might be a trajectory, depending on where you are situated, maybe, that there will be more processed food. However, hopefully, people will make a conscious effort to have more whole foods and natural foods and raw foods as opposed to unprocessed food or overly processed food. So, but thank you so much for coming off mute and sharing that with us, Lowell. And then we had an interesting comment from Scott. I also had June. Oh, what are June
Oh
bugs?
my goodness.
Hazel, do you want to read that comment out?
Yeah. I also had June bugs in China, but they're rather juicy and that's hard to mentally process as you eat it. I think insects in general would be hard to mentally process as you eat it. But grasshoppers, crickets, scorpions are crunchy like crisps and can be pretty tasty. Just mind the stinger. Yeah, I guess that's a whole different type of foods to eat. I have once tried chocolate covered crickets, which were
Mm.
kind of interesting. And like as you described, it's like a crunchy inside and like chocolate on the outside, which was, yeah, it was a choice. But yeah, in a lot of countries, it is quite common to have like crickets and other insects as part of their diet, like cricket flour and stuff. So, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, the vision I had when you were talking about June bugs and that it was rather juicy just reminded me of that scene in Lion King, the Hakuna Matata one, where they're like picking out really crunchy, it's again showing my age, crunchy bugs, and they were also very juicy. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for sharing. Oh, and to Merlihan, this is really interesting that we catch and eat termite during nuptial flight. I'm gonna definitely Google that and find out a bit more around what nuptial flight is, unless you'd like to come off mute and share, feel free to. But otherwise, we can continue on with the presentation. Okay. Okay. I'm going to keep us moving because We want to keep on time as well. But if anyone has any other thoughts or visions of food, both from the past and the future, please do let us know. So ngā mihi and thank you. We just thought we'd share a few other things with you just to wrap up. The Aotearoa Futures Network map, which is actually Victoria's brainchild, who's also on the call, is essentially maps all the people that are working around strategic foresight and futures across Aotearoa. Just thinking, Hazel, we need to get you on the map somehow, unless you're already on the map.
Yeah.
Um, but feel free to scan the QR code and have a look. It shows, who's connected, who's communicating, coordinating. It shows the different regions and focus areas. It's a really highly interactive and visual map, which is quite cool. And then we've got some upcoming events and learnings too, very similar to Teach the Future. Obviously, front and center is World Futures Day today. Whoop whoop. And then we've got a upcoming webinar with Phil Balagtas later this month. And then on this side of the world, I believe this is the Sydney 5 p.m. time zone, but in Brisbane, which is also in Australia, they're having an Oceania Futures and Foresight Symposium a little bit later in March as well. And then we have Matthias, who had privilege and pleasure of meeting at the Dubai Futures Forum last year, and he's going to be also doing a bit of an online webinar with us in April. But if you're interested, we'd love to keep in touch, and so feel free to join our newsletter. And also, we've featured the amazing Futures Workshop podcast for Victoria as well. Okay, maybe Hazel, I'll let you share our references and anything else you might like to share for our last 5 minutes together.
Yeah, so we have some resources. We've got a podcast, and yeah, I think that's the Futures Workshop with Bill Sharp, who's amazing. I met at Dubai Futures Forum last year. He's a great guy, very intelligent. And we've got Teacher Futures, obviously, website, which has all the links to all the opportunities you can have, like Young Voices Council and the Young Voices Network, as well as some tools on the Teacher Futures website. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And I should note the first link is the Long Time Academy podcast, which the Human Layers experience is one of the long time practices. So it's by far, apart from Victoria's the Futures Workshop podcast, this is by far the second most favorite podcast series. I rave about it all the time. It's a short series. It's got 6 episodes, and it really talks about long time futures, how we got to now, the new economic models, decolonizing the future. And with every episode, there is a long time practice with each of the episode as well. So Human Lays is the first practice, and definitely one of my favorites. Have a listen. Yeah. But yeah, we've just maybe probably got a bit of time for questions if there's any in the chat. Feel free to do that. I'm going to count to 7. Might be some questions. Otherwise, we can close a little bit early with a karakia.
Oh, wait, I can just see Scott's comment.
Oh,
I love
okay.
the
Yes.
idea of being in a point in the future where concept of eating insects is normalized, but great debates rage over which one is best, like Coke and Pepsi. Yes, I can definitely see this happening. It becoming a new trend to start eating insects, going to the dairy to buy some insects. That'd be pretty cool, interesting in the future.
I love it, Scott. In terms of how would you brand insects in the future? Because I feel like Coke and Pepsi, technically, they're colas, right? They probably don't want me to say this, quite similar in taste, but really strong kind of brand differentiation. Yeah, be interesting how the insects, what's just, one type of jellyfish from another type of jellyfish, or one type of grasshopper from another type of grasshopper. That would be really fascinating. Yeah, interesting speculative branding project of the future. But yeah, any other thoughts, any other questions? Thank you so much for being here as well. Or any other reflections from you, Hazel? Like maybe if you want to, maybe you've already had a chance to like, but share about your experience of the Teach the Future Council, or maybe you're saving that for another session.
Yeah, well, I can say I highly recommend if anyone isn't involved with Teach the Future, 100% do something because I've loved everything I've done with them. I've loved the Summer Institute where I learned so many futures tools around futures literacy, and the Young Voices Council, obviously the best. I've met so many other youth people interested in futures and futures thinking. And I've learned about other people's projects, which was great. And yeah, if you're interested, definitely join, definitely apply next year because it's one of the best things I've ever joined.
It's so wonderful. And how do you apply? Is it online? Do you have to do like, is there
I think it's on the Teacher Futures website,
okay,
but there will be some links at the end, which
cool.
might have some information on that.
Amazing. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you to my co-facilitator, Hazel, for catalyzing this idea and leading the session and yeah, and sharing out the beautiful visualization as well. Awesome. Okay, let us close with the karakia today. So me karakia tātou. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia ki te uru tapunui, kia wātea, kia mama, te nato, te tinana, te wairua i te ara tākata. Koera e rongo, whakaria aki ki runga, kia tina, huie, tai kie. So draw on the supreme sacredness to clear, to free the heart, the body, and the spirit of mankind, or mankind, humankind. Rongo suspend high above us, draw together and affirm. Thank you, and would love to stay connected with you all. So feel free to send us an email, follow us on LinkedIn. Don't have a TikTok, but yeah, feel free to. Would love to connect with you all if you're keen. But any final words from you, Hazel, before we pass back to the Teach the Future team?
I don't think so. Thank you all for being here, though, and thank you for co-facilitating with me, Jade. It's been great. I will just wrap up now. So, as we wrap up this inspiring session, thank you all for being part of World Futures Day Young Voices. Your perspectives and participation has made this conversation truly meaningful. The journey doesn't end here. New facilitators and fresh conversations begin at the top of each hour. You're welcome to stay and continue exploring future possibilities with us. Some quick announcements. If you enjoyed today, this kind of learning doesn't stop here. It continues through Teacher Future's global online youth futures community. Right now, we are offering the following learning experiences. Campaigns for Change builds award-winning projects using futures literacy skills to join Young Voices FutureWise Institute. We apply these skills directly to your active projects and future initiatives. As part of World Futures Day, there's a special discount code to register. If you're not ready to take part in a learning experience yet, you can still stay connected by joining the Young Voices Network, a global community of young people engaged in futures thinking and change. And would love to hear about your experience, share your feedback, and receive your badge of participation. Please fill out our survey. I'll share the links in the chat now. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you, Jade. We have a little break before our next session. So we're going to ask you to get up, stretch your legs, maybe even take a walk into the future. Use some of the things that you've just learned from Hazel and Jade. So we'll start at the top of the hour in 15 minutes.